ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for, week number 8, day number 3. And so for today's for today's news about next year, we are going to talk about what is changing on Fridays. So, as you may know, ladies and gentlemen, the school year for Da Vinci Tree Academy is quite a bit longer than other schools. The reason for this is because research shows that kids who have a longer school year actually perform better in all academic areas, more so than kids who have a normal school year. Since we want the best for all of you, we have decided to extend our school year. But what that allows us to do is it allows us to take big chunks of the year and do fun activities with them. And so today we are announcing to all of our kiddos for next year that we are looking into making Fridays fun. So next year, Fridays will have academics for about 2 hours in the morning, and then the rest of the day on Friday is going to be devoted to different activities. We're going to be doing clubs, we're going to be doing sports, we're going to be doing all school stuff. And so next year, Fridays are going to be fun Fridays. A couple of the clubs that we've already talked about in the past, and we know that we're going to be doing next year, is we're going to have a Lego club. We're going to have a drama and video club. We're going to have a yearbook club. And so we're going to have all sorts of fun clubs in addition to some of the clubs that we already have, like the Party Gamer Club, which we do on Fridays, and the Chess Club, which we do on Wednesdays. So next year, Fridays are going to be fun Fridays, and we're going to have all kinds of neat ideas from our teachers and different things that they're passionate about to do in the clubs. Now, I want to show you a quick clip, because in the past, I did clubs as well. And in this clip, you might see somebody you know. This is a clip from a drama and video club that I used to host as a teacher of middle school back many years ago. So let's go ahead and watch the clip.
This is how to make banana bread. First, the ingredients. 1/4 cup shortening, 1/2 cup sugar, 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a pinch of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 1/2 banana, mashed, 1/4 cup of chopped nuts or raisins. Now this is how we put it all together. Cream, sugar and shortening. Sift dry ingredients and set them aside. Add the eggs and flavoring to the shortening mixture and mix well. Add dry ingredients, nuts and bananas. Then add milk if necessary. Pour into an oiled bread pan and bake at 360 degrees for 1 hour.
So that clip was from a group of middle school kids, not actors, of course, and one child in particular I hope stood out to you because that child is Coach Fryer. Yeah, that's what Coach Fryer looked like when he was closer to your age. Isn't that fun? As you all know, a lot of the TAs at this school were actually my students back in the day, and this was one of the skits that we did when he was in my drama and video club many years ago. So, I hope you're excited for next year. We're going to have all sorts of fun clubs and activities for you to do on Fridays. And don't worry, parents, the clubs and activities are all educational. The kids will get to do a lot of hands-on stuff that we've been wanting to do for a while now. Last but certainly not least, I need to give a quick caveat. We can make all the plans that we want, but we are still waiting on the state of Arizona to get back to us on the different regulations we're going to have to follow next year for social distancing and other stuff for the virus. And as you can also tell, I've been doing all these videos all by myself, and that's why some of the camera work and the audio work isn't very good, so I apologize for that. But we will do our very best to provide the best, most fun and engaging hands-on experience that we can for all of our students this next year, and we are looking forward to seeing you all again very much. All right, let's go ahead and say our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please stand at attention wherever you are. If you're wearing a hat like I am, please go ahead and take it off. Place your right hand over your heart, and let's go ahead and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, hey, well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fantastic day of online learning today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to week 8, day number 3. I'm Mr. Roll, and as you can see, I'm taking care of the baby, wearing my new blue hat. I think this is a stewardess's hat from back in the day. If things are a little bit weirder than normal today, it is because I haven't slept for 2 days because I've been working on a big public health presentation that I have to give to a couple different people in different governments agencies here, and so I've been working on that for the past 2 days, so I apologize if I'm a little more scattered than even usual. So let's go ahead and get to our agenda for today. So today we are on break from life skills, so you don't have to worry about that. We've been talking about different high school things, and I figured it'd be a good day for a break for that. Today we are going to be watching a video from NASA. This video is of one of the Artemis astronauts. She is super cool, and she has already spent a lot of time on the International Space Station. So you get to see a video of a real-life astronaut talk about the Artemis program and how excited she is for it. So I think you'll really like this video. Next up in history, we're talking about the modern age of empires. And so America became an imperial power in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but we weren't the only ones. Pretty much all the other countries in the world were doing the same. Even countries like China, who weren't doing so well around this time, had their colonies in Mongolia, and so Inner Mongolia and Mongolia. And so it was the age of empires, of modern empires, and so we're going to be talking about that. Next up in literature, we're reviewing chapter 23, and your homework for today is chapter 24. And then in science, we're learning about pulleys and compounding machines. We're going to be reading from the book. You don't have any homework there, though. Then in math, for group 1, we're going to be talking about something called sample spaces, but I'm not giving you any homework. In group 2, we will be giving you some homework today, and we are discussing using negative exponents. So we're rounding out all of our exponents and discussing the use of negative exponents. After we finish looking at this, we are going to be doing scientific notation starting on day number 5. Okay? So anyway, again, that is our agenda for the day. We don't have any life skills, so let's jump directly into current events. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, yesterday you watched that really cool animation about the Artemis mission and how we're going to get back to the moon. I talked a little bit about how the moon is going to be the springboard for human exploration for Mars and the rest of the solar system, and so that's all very, very exciting. And today, again, we're going to hear from a real-life astronaut who is one of the Artemis astronauts, and I really like to see her excitement for the program. I really like her perspectives on life and on the mission. And I just think it's a really cool interview. So we'll go ahead and watch the interview, and please make sure you're actually watching these. It's just kind of fun. I think I mentioned this already, but when I was a kid, I always dreamed about people on the moon, but it never happened in my life. And it was just kind of one of those things that, would never really exist during my life, that we always thought. But now, for the first time, we actually have a chance to put humans on other places other than Earth. And once it happens in 2024, it'll never be the same. It's almost like growing up, I always thought it'd be cool if there were electric cars, and then Tesla came along, and now we have electric cars. A lot of people always dreamed of having a president who wasn't who was a minority, and then President Obama got elected, and then forever now, you don't have to be Caucasian to become president, because it's happened before. And so once that first person makes it happen, then it kind of opens the doors for the rest of us. And so I'm really excited to have a woman astronaut set foot on the moon, and have our astronauts stay on the moon, because little kiddos like you and like her, when you guys grow up, the moon is an achievable goal. And I just think that's fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to stop yakking now and go ahead and watch that video. All right, let's talk American history, but today our focus is not just on America, it's on world history. And we are talking about the rise of modern world empires. And we are looking back at around the 1880s and really moving up until World War I. So back during this time, most of the power in the world was centered in Europe. And so we had several very powerful countries, and they kind of oscillated back and forth between each other. For a very long time, the most powerful and influential country in the world was Spain. And they had the largest colony in the world that went all the way from modern-day Argentina at the tip of South America, all the way up to the present-day United States. They owned almost all of it. And then Spain was dethroned by Britain, but Britain did not directly replace Spain as the world power, as the dominant world power. France and Britain went at it back and forth, back and forth. And all the while all these countries were duking it out, you had the little Netherlands, and the Netherlands were creating colonies around the world for trade. And so it came to a head in the 1880s that all of these different countries in Europe, they were almost trying to one-up each other. And so if Spain got a new colony, then Britain would say, oh no, if Spain gets too powerful, they're going to be able to overthrow us. I need to get a new colony too. And then when Britain got a new colony, France suddenly would be like, hey, wait a second, Spain and Britain are growing. I need to grow too. And so England and Spain and France and Portugal and Germany and the Ottoman Empire, all these different countries, okay, what we call modern day Germany, back then was different. All of these countries were racing to build the biggest empire, to have the most influence and the best army. And that was kind of a precursor to World War I, because the world became this giant, tense place where different countries vied to have the most land and most colonies, and it created all this tension that eventually led countries to start forming alliances. It was almost like a gang war when two gangs get together and form a defense alliance against another gang. That's what Europe was becoming like. And so the United States has very close ties to Europe, and the United States saw Europe doing all these amazing things with colonization. And so the United States started thinking, what about me? Maybe I should do it too. And so that's how the United States started getting more and more territorial, taking over more and more things. Anyway, go ahead and watch the video today, and that'll be it. You don't have any other homework, just to watch the video about modern imperialism. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I can manage this, it's time for literature class. Oh, I should switch my hat. Oh. Whew. And so you were supposed to read chapter, was it 22 yesterday? It was the chapter with the trial. It's okay, baby. It's okay. It's okay. All right. So the trial was pretty cool. It was pretty dramatic. Oh, chapter 23. And so in chapter 23, the trial begins, and you got the drunk guy Potter there, and he's being tried for murder. And so the prosecutor keeps on calling up witnesses that keep on testifying against him, and his defense attorney sounds like a terrible attorney because he doesn't cross-examine any of them. He just kind of lets it go. And so it looks like it's curtains for Potter. It looks like he's going to be put in jail or maybe even executed for the murder of the doctor until, in a surprise move, the defense attorney calls Tom Sawyer to the stand. And Tom is terrified. He kind of doesn't know what to do or what to say. And so he tells the truth. And he gets all the way up to the point where he is about to rat out Joe. And Joe, I guess, is so anxious and afraid that Joe actually gets up, runs away, and I think he jumps out of a window. And so he literally flees the scene before Tom is able to give the testimony that Joe was the real murderer. Ooh, so Joe is on the loose, and poor Tom and poor Huck are scared for their very lives. And so that's it for this chapter. You need to read the next chapter, which is chapter 24 tonight for homework. Now, I forgot to say it the last 2 days, but don't forget, every chapter you need to be doing your dictionary definitions for your reading grade and your 5 times each for your spelling grade. So make sure that you're doing those in addition to reading. All right, so let's go ahead and see if I can continue balancing this crazy act, taking care of baby for science. My hat again. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for science class here. So today we are reading from 394 to 396, and we're introducing the basic machine of the pulley. But before we start talking about our new simple machine, the pulley, I want to go back and let's read through the history of these other machines. All right, so we're looking at the AD 1000, and I have no idea how to say that. Brihadisharava Temple in India. The temple's tower at Thanjavur, I am so sorry, I'm butchering these if any of you know how to pronounce them or are South Asian in descent. The temple's tower at Thanjavur rises to a height of more than 60 meters. Workers drag the dome-shaped capstone, a mass of over 70,000 kilograms, to the top of the structure along an inclined plane several kilometers long. So 70,000 kilograms, kids, right here, that is about 150,000 pounds. 155,000 pounds. And they did it all using these basic machines such as an inclined plane. It's amazing. So next one, we're looking at the Yingxian Pagoda in China from 1056. And so the slanted wooden beams called ong act as first-class levers to hold up the roof of this pagoda. The weight of the center of the roof presses down on one end of the beam. The other end of the beam swings up to support the outer edge of the roof. I've seen a number of these Chinese pagodas, or actually this pagoda is in China, but many Chinese pagodas are actually round rather than squared off. I believe the Japanese pagodas are often squared off, I think. Again, just going off the top of my head. And so most Chinese pagodas are round, not boxy like this. But it's really amazing that they were able to build such tall, strong, long-lasting structures without modern construction equipment. Last but not least, in 1994, the Channel from the United Kingdom to France. So kids, the UK and France, as you can see right here, the UK is that red island on the top. France is in the main part of Western Europe there. They have a body of water that goes between them called the English Channel. And so even though they have a giant body of water that flows between France and England, you can take a train and go from Paris to London because of a neat invention called the Channel. The Channel is a train tunnel that actually goes underground so deep that it's deeper than the ocean in the English Channel, or deeper than the water in the English Channel. So the Channel in 1994, United Kingdom to France. Special drilling equipment was built
to tunnel under the English Channel. Opened in May of 1994, the tunnel is 50 kilometers long. It carries only railway traffic. And I think today it carries cars too. This is written a while back. All right, so that's it for the history. Let's start talking about the pulley. When you raise or lower a flag on a flagpole, oof, my arm's tired, or open and close window blinds, you're using a simple machine known as a pulley. A pulley is a grooved wheel with a rope or a chain or even a steel cable wrapped around it. You use a pulley by pulling the rope, or pulling on the rope. As a result, you can change the amount and direction of your input force. So again, the pulley is changing the direction of the input force. So you can pull something up by having an input force that goes down. So it's kind of neat in that way. And it can also magnify your force. All right, so let's take a look at these here. So we have a couple different pulleys. First one, we have a fixed pulley. Fixed pulleys. A pulley that you attach to a structure is called a fixed pulley. Again, this is attached to a structure. Hey, Marshall. A single fixed pulley. Today we have lots of kids in here. All right, buddy. Hey, I'm recording my lesson. You got to get going, okay, son? All right. Bye, Marshall. No, you're just standing back there. You have to go away. You can't hide back there, silly boy. All right, here, please go. We're teaching a science lesson. Okay. I'm sorry. Let's start from the top here. Okay, so we're looking at figure A right here. It's a fixed pulley. So fixed pulleys. A pulley that you attach to a structure is called a fixed pulley. A single fixed pulley, as shown in figure 18A, does not change the amount of force you apply. Instead, it changes the direction of the input force. Okay, so the fixed pulley in A does not change the amount of force, just the direction. A single fixed pulley can be used to raise a sail, as you read in the previous section. Let's start talking about movable pulleys. If you attach a pulley to the object as you wish to move, then you are using a movable pulley. As you see in figure 18B, this one right here, yeah, the object is then supported by each side of the rope that is looped around the pulley. Where? Sorry, I'm so tired, guys. As a result, the ideal mechanical advantage of a movable pulley is 2. The output force on the object is twice the input force as you exert on the rope. You can also see that you must exert your force over a greater distance. For every meter you lift the object with a movable pulley, you will need to pull the rope 2 meters. So again, over here in A, the pulley is fixed in a position. In B, the rope is fixed in a position, and the pulley is movable. Notice that with the movable pulley, your input force is in the same direction as the output force. A movable pulley is especially useful when you are lifting an object from above. Large construction cranes often work with a movable pulley. A hook fastened to the pulley carries the building materials. All right, let's go on. Pulley systems. If you combine fixed and movable pulleys, you can make a pulley system. Such a pulley system is also called a block and tackle. The pulley system pictured in figure 18C has an ideal mechanical advantage of 2. The pulley system in figure 18D has an ideal mechanical advantage of 3. So let's stop and look at that. Mechanical advantage 2, mechanical advantage 3. What's the difference? Well, it looks like on here, the rope is fastened to the pulley on the top, whereas here, the rope is fastened to the pulley on the bottom. And the rope in both of them goes through the bottom pulley. Let's see here. Okay, the ideal mechanical advantage of a pulley system is equal to the number of sections of the rope that support the object. Don't include the rope on which you pull downward because it does not support the object. So we count up the number of ropes that support the object, and that gives us the mechanical advantage. All right? So I think that's 1, 2, and 3 right there. I could be wrong though. Again, so out of it. All right. I'm doing my best, guys. I really am, and I'm sorry for complaining so much. I will stop that. All right, compound machines. Many devices that you can observe around you do not resemble the 6 simple machines that you just read about. That is because more complex machines consist of combinations of simple machines. A machine that utilizes 2 or more simple machines is called a compound machine. To calculate the ideal mechanical advantage of a compound machine, you need to know the mechanical advantage of each simple machine. The overall mechanical advantage is the product of the individual ideal mechanical advantages of the simple machines. So, I need you to understand, when we're calculating mechanical advantage and we have a complex or compound machine, we have to break it down into each of its individual component parts to see what mechanical advantage they have. All right? A pencil sharpener is a good example of a compound machine. When you turn the handle, you are using a wheel and axle to turn the mechanism inside the sharpener. The 2 cutting wheels inside are screws that whittle away at the end of the pencil until it is sharp. Inside the pencil sharpener in figure 19 is an axle that turns gears. The gears then turn the cutting wheels. A system of gears is a device with toothed wheels that fit into one another. Turning one wheel causes another wheel to turn. Gears form a compound machine with one wheel and axle linked together to another wheel and axle. Sorry guys. Sometimes this link is direct, as in the gear shown in figure 19. In other devices, such as a bicycle, this link is through a chain. So, now kids, that thing right there in figure number 19, those gears being close together, that was something that was very familiar for people my age growing up, because watches were not yet universally digital. Many watches, for my friends and even for myself, were physical watches that had no digital components, and so they actually had little gears on the inside, little sprockets that had to turn. And so those watches were all compound machines. All right, so I am going to put baby down before I fall asleep myself, and then let's go ahead and get over to math once I am deposited the baby in her cradle. All right, baby's asleep and I'm awake. I got some coffee. So, I was joking with my wife that my teaching can put anyone to sleep. So I guess Julio and Noah and company, you guys don't have to feel as bad now because even I was falling asleep to my own teaching there. All right, so sorry, I'm just joking with you guys. Put this on. And see, I can wear it sideways like this now, like I'm a gangster stewardess. Like, yo, want some peanuts? All right, let's keep on going here. So for group number 1 today for math, we are going over sample spaces. Now, this idea of a sample space is a pretty basic idea. We're just going to go over the concept of it, but you don't have to do any homework. Now, I know a couple of you are going to hit the pause button and just turn the video off immediately. But please, in order for this to work and for you to know about what this is in high school, just watch for a couple minutes, por favor, okay? All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we are on lesson 10.3 here. If you're following along in the book, make a list to find sample spaces. Because you can roll the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on a number cube, it's called a dice, y'all. There are 6 possible outcomes. Together, all the possible outcomes of an experiment make up the sample space. You can make an organized list to show all possible outcomes of an experiment. So, again, this is just making a list and doing some simple multiplication to figure out all of the possible outcomes. So, problem-solving applications. Lucia, Lucia, I don't know, flips 2 quarters at the same time. What are all the possible outcomes? How large is the sample space? So the sample space includes every possible outcome that you could get from a given game of chance or a given scenario. So first, we have to understand a problem. So we have to rewrite this question as a statement. Find all the possible outcomes of flipping 2 quarters and determine the size of the sample space. List the important information. There are 2 quarters. Each quarter can land heads up or tails up. Make a plan. You can make an organized list to show all the possible outcomes. So we have heads and heads, heads and tails, tails and heads, tails and tails. List the possible outcomes that are what we just said. And there are 4 possible outcomes in the sample space. Look back. Each possible outcome that is recorded in the list is different. So, kids, we realize here by looking at that thing right there that there are 4 possible outcomes for flipping 2 quarters. Now, another way to look at it is the quarter over here has 2 possible outcomes. The quarter over here has 2 possible outcomes. 2 times another 2 is 4. And so there are 4 possible outcomes because we take the number of possible outcomes for each variable, in this case quarters, and we multiply them together to get the set of all possible outcomes total. When the number of possible outcomes of an experiment increases, it may be easier to track all possible outcomes using a tree diagram. So next question is, well, what's a tree diagram? Well, guess what, guys? It's right there. That's a tree diagram. Boo, boo, boo. All right. Using a tree diagram to find a sample space. Claudia spins each of the spinners. What are all the possible outcomes? How large is the sample space? You can make a tree diagram to show the sample space. List each color on spinner 1, then list each number on spinner 2 for each color on spinner 1. So, we're going to spin this first spinner right here, this beautiful red, blue, and green one. We're going to spin that little spinner. Then we're going to go over here and spin the numbered spinner that is not colorful. So, list each color on spinner 1. So on spinner 1, we have red, blue, and green. There you see it, red, blue, and green. And then list each number on spinner 2. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So we have red 1, red 2, red 3. Blue 1, blue 2, blue 3, hut, hut, hike, green 1, green 2, and green 3. And so in total, if we count all of the little branches on our tree diagram, we get 1, 2, 3. By the way, I'm just highlighting the commas because it's happening naturally. Just whatever. Hopefully you get it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 possible outcomes for this problem using the colorful spinner and the spinner with the drab numbers. Now again, another way we can do it is we can say there are 3 colors. There are 3 numbers. 3 times another 3 gives us 9. Okay? So that's the other way we can solve this. Again, sometimes when you doubt yourself, and I doubt myself all the time because like I repeatedly tell you kids, I'm actually not that good at math. I just have to really work at it. So if you doubt yourself, making a spiffy table like this one right here, or a fun little tree like this one here is probably not a terrible idea. Because if you have no idea how to do the math, you can just add up all the options here and say, I got 9. Whew, I'm done, right? Because even if you're not good at algebra, hopefully you can add and count. Sorry, I don't know if that was me. I can't tell. I'm so tired. Oh, and I told you I wasn't going to complain about that anymore. So I apologize again. All right, in example 1, there are 2 outcomes for each coin. Oh, look, they're copying me. Okay, we have the first quarter and the second quarter gives us 4 total. In example 2, there are 3 outcomes for each spinner. Spinner with the colors, spinner with the numbers, 9 outcomes. Oh yeah. The fundamental counting principle states that you can find the total number of ways that 2 or more separate tasks can happen by multiplying the number of ways each task can happen separately. So again, the fundamental counting principle is kind of a big old fancy name of saying it's however many times it happens over here, times however many times it happens over here, and those are the chances that it will happen together. Easy peasy. All right, recreation application. I think this is the last one we need to read. Yeah, recreation application. In a game, each player rolls a 1 through 6 number cube, also known as a dice. I don't know why they don't. Maybe somebody has the copyright name for dice. I don't know. Anyway, each player rolls a 1 through 6 number cube, also known as an off-brand dice, and spins a spinner. The spinner is divided into thirds, meaning that there are 3 different sections on the spinner. All right. How many outcomes are possible during one player's turn? Okay. So we have our off-brand dice, the 1 through 6 number cube. I don't know why that's funny to me right now, but I think everything is right now, at least. The spinner is divided into thirds, numbers 1, 2, and 3. So number cube 1 through 6, spinner 1, 2, and 3. 6 times 3 is 18. So there are 18 possible outcomes. Cool beans, y'all, huh? All right, so hopefully you understand that. And again, if you don't understand it, please send me an email so I can reteach it, or maybe do a better job teaching it, or maybe drink an entire Monster and not just sip on coffee while I'm teaching when I'm this tired. Again, the idea here, to find the sample space that we're looking for, we simply have to multiply all the outcomes for one variable times all the outcomes for another variable, and then we get the outcomes for the whole. So it's kind of cool, kind of nice, kind of neat. And the reason why I'm not drilling you on this today is because this is a fundamental concept that will keep coming up and up again and again. And when I say it out loud, it makes me think I should probably drill you. But the reason why I'm not right now is I want to give you guys a break, and I am very confident that you will see this again one day. And so if you don't get it with me right now, I know you'll see it again, so you'll be able to learn it, so that when you need to whip out these awesome math skills in real life, you'll have them ready to go. Okay. All right, that's it for Group 1. You all have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, let's get to Group number 2's math for the day. But before we do, I was just thinking about this hat, because it's like the last time I'm going to be wearing it, because you guys are my last class of the day. And I remembered when I was a little kid, I used to see cartoons of bears at the circus riding little unicycles and wearing hats that kind of look exactly like this. It's kind of funny. No, that's weird. The whole hat's weird. Anyway, it's okay. That's the whole point, though. It's more engaging if something eye-catching. All right. Anyway, so today we're talking about negative exponents again. Now, we already took some time to explain negative exponents in the past, and you have a lesson to watch over negative exponents coming up here. I did want to illustrate one thing about negative exponents, and the thing I wanted to illustrate about them is... gosh, I don't know how to describe it in math terms, so I'm just going to say it in like normal people terms. There was a movie I saw once that the villain was like, if I go down, I'm taking you with me. Ha! The exponents, they don't take other variables with them when they go down. Let me show you what I mean. So if we have a set of variables and coefficients and exponents. So let's say we have 3w to the negative 2 power, x to the 4th, and h to the negative 8, like that. Yeah? So if we have something like this here, the negative exponents, remember, bring the parts of the equation, boom, down underneath the division bar, and then they become positive. So that negative exponent swings the entire variable down under the division bar, okay? But it's important to note which parts of the problem get swung down under. So first, there's our division bar. Because the negative 2 is on the w gets dragged straight down under the division bar with the negative 2 in tow. And then right here, because the negative h is negative, it also gets slung down beneath the division bar. Now what doesn't get slung down amongst the division bar is the x and the 3, because the 3 has no exponents attached to it, and the x's exponent is a positive. So those two positively do not move. And so the w to the negative 2 power and the h to the negative 8 get moved or bumped. And then the final answer here is 3x to the 4th, just like that. And again, the w to the negative 2 power was didn't make it. And then multiplied, wait, what are we doing? Are they multiplied? Yep. Multiplied by h to the negative 8. Now because they flipped, they no longer have to be negative. Just like that. And they get to live out the rest of their natural lives underneath the division bar unless somebody comes out and springs them with more multiplication. Okay? And so this right up here, this equation, or this set of variables and whatnot, 3w to the negative 2, x to the 4th, h to the negative 8th. If we simplify it and throw it underneath the fraction bar, then we get 3x to the 4th power, w to the 2nd, h to the 8th. And again, paying attention to the fact that the negative does not take the coefficient with it, and it doesn't take the neighboring variable with it. It only takes the variable that it is attached to. All right, folks, before I sign off today, I just want to say, for those of you who are dealing with some really crazy stuff right now with members of your family dying, you know, you're in my thoughts and prayers. Also, for those of you who are afraid that you might have the virus, you know, again, thoughts and prayers. And for the majority of us who are not personally affected by the virus, either among our families or friends, I just want to encourage you to be careful. Just because you don't have it or someone in your family doesn't have it doesn't mean you can't get it. And the virus is truly a very unpleasant thing to have. And so please make sure you're staying safe. Please make sure you're washing your hands. If you go out in public, you know, cover your face with something just for good measure. And let's all stay safe so we can see each other again sometime very, very soon. Anyway, thank you for your time. Let's go ahead and get going here so you can have the rest of your day to finish your homework and play video games or do whatever you've been doing. Okay? Thanks, guys.